to help them do this so they can be in with a chance of promotion. So any donations will be gratefully received. It's very wordy of them.
Yeah, just probably search for Barrow Raiders crowdfunding if you want to give money towards it. I would ask, though, if you do, specifically say, why the fuck should I pay for your airport transport when I don't pay for your transport to Oxford or Newcastle or Hunslet?
Yeah.
But other than that one, you know, I can sort of see the gripe in terms of, because of the special nature of it reduces, doesn't it, when it's the second time around. So for the players taking time off work a second time around and that sort of stuff, I think, and have already had the experience or whatever. Now, Barrow are the only people who've moaned at all about this Toronto situation.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's issues because they were the closest rivals to Toronto with this. It'd be interesting to hear from the other clubs that have went, because we know a lot more poorer clubs than Barrow have gone. Clubs like Oxford and Allgold, who are both looking to potentially rumoured to be merging and relocating and stuff to try and find some sort of stable footing because they're struggling. Clubs like Hemel, who have had to piggyback off Dewsbury and stuff for most of the resources, and so those clubs haven't moaned. In fact,
I'm embraced.
Glowingly talked about it in nothing but positives. So it'd be interesting to see a more rounded picture of why this issue has happened more for Barrow the first time around. Now, I get it, if it's happening twice and people want to contribute to support it, I think that's a reasonable thing to do. Extra baggage, I'm not sure about how that's come about. Did they know the allowances and stuff like that, and was there some sort of other arrangements that could have been arranged? The special visas, my understanding is Barrow maybe didn't quite go through all the processes properly with some of their players early enough or quick enough, but I don't know if that was involved in paying extra fees to get things pushed through for special visas or what have you. But obviously the circumstances there that are unfortunate. I would have thought stuff like visas and stuff maybe would already be covered if you pay for them once. I don't know how it actually works, but that would be my guess. They would normally last for a period of time. I'm sure that period of time might cover the span between the two games. But yeah, food and drink, I guess, obviously, I wouldn't have expected Toronto to be paying for that for the duration of the trip, but they're paying for the airfares and for the accommodation. Here's
my problem with this, right? Fair play at Barrow, you've had a good season, and I like seeing fans of clubs getting behind their team, and God knows my club will have to start doing it. But the line from this that teed me off and got me thinking was home supporters not attending as they deemed the opposition not to be up to standard. Unfortunately, there's two things I need to address with that. First of all, that's the standard you fucking play at because that's the league you're in, right? Secondly, if you're working at Barrow and you're not happy with the calibre of your opposition and you find that you need to talk to the Supporters Trust about raising £4,000, why not fling a bit of effort into marketing your club in the local area a little bit better, try and get 400 people in paying a tenner a time extra. And then all of a sudden, there's your £4,000 for you, piece of piss. And we don't have to jump on the internet and start doing all this shit. Fair play to the Supporters Trust, there's a great deal of good work gets done by them. But if that's the attitude, that the club's opposition are not up to standard, well, it's not like Barrow have been floating around the top end of the Championship for the last decade. They've been in League One for a considerable amount of time.
They did play a Northern Rail Cup final within the last decade.
Yeah, but I think you see the point I'm making. Market yourselves better. It's not like, listen, Barrow is a reasonably big town, and it's reasonably fair to say that rugby league is exceptionally popular in that part of Cumbria. Market yourselves a bit better as a club, and your Supporters Trust won't need to go cap in hand and almost prostrate themselves at the will of other people to be able to fund this sort of thing.
I hope that they get it all covered off, and I hope that the other clubs aren't having these problems that Barrow are the only people to have raised objection and issue with. I don't know if some of it comes from a place of we're pissed off about Toronto because we thought we would have been going up without them. But I hope that they get it all covered off, and they still have a great run to the playoff promotion final because they have had a great season.
Yes, they certainly have, and good luck to them in their trip to Toronto. Right, that's news from around the world of rugby league. Let's take a look back now at round 2 of the Super 8s. Okay, so into the game reviews then, and we'll start on Thursday evening in the Super 8s. Wakefield Trinity 38, Leeds Rhinos 6 mark. Who'd have thunk it, in front of 5,607, refereed by Ben Thaler.
Yeah, we start with the reviews with Mitchell Darts, who says, Webster's dictionary defines diabolical as that Leeds performance against Wakefield.
Dr. Bob Phillips got in touch and says, if it were a horse race, they would have had an inquiry about how a massive dose of sedative managed to be given to an entire team. Slow, fumbling, unimaginative and frustrated with themselves, like running on benzodiazepines. Even Ablett was poor, asterisk, but we still love him.
Tyler Casfan said, a bit too easy for Wakey. Making easy meters with the ball and defending well without it. Leeds were way off with too many errors and no one willing to bend their back and do the hard yards.
Wakey White said, don't think anyone saw that coming. Fantastic response from Trinity after the Huddersfield debacle. They played the game according to John Keir's 3 I's: intensity, integrity and intelligence. And as a result, Leeds struggled to live with the pace of the game. Shout out to Carl Wood, a sterling 80-minute display on both sides of the ball for the little fellow. Wakey right back in the mix for the race to Old Trafford.
Tyler Leeds fan said, well, that went wrong.
I have a theory now that Tyler Cass fan doesn't actually listen to the show anymore, and all we've got are parodies.
No, Tyler Cass fan was Tyler. Well, that went wrong. I move over to what I thought was the right team in West Yorkshire after Cass had let me down, and it's the wrong horse again. Wakey just out-enthused us, Aston a few weeks ago. It makes 2 to 4 exciting again, though. Tyler Wildcat fan will take over next week.
Very good. Okay, Brian Davies says, good performance from Wakey. Beat Leeds in every aspect of the game. We were too quick and too strong. Footwork at the line resulted in numerous pens from Leeds. Calwood was far too quick in the ruck. We were controlled and disciplined. Everything you'd want from your side, and which we didn't show against the Giants last week. Chelsea changed the squad and it clearly shook things up. Yet another great result for the Super 8s.
Scoops says, I'm becoming quite a fan of these Thursday night matches in the Super 8s. It's all getting interesting. Leeds stuff Wigan but then capitulate to Wakey. At least on Sky Sports Rhino we get to see the next instalment of the Leeds saga.
Yes, we do. Rich Wilkinson got in touch. So annoyed was he that he forgot to say now then, lads. So what a fucking joke. We overplayed way too early without earning the right. We turned over cheap ball time and time again. I'm a big fan of JJB, but that will be close to his worst game in blue and amber. We let Wakey get away from us and the game was done. In the second half we needed a few 50-50s to go our way and to score early to have a glimpse. We got neither. Cast aside, Super League from 1 week to the next is a lottery. Well, it's proven to be on this week's results, Mark, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And this one, I mean, what a turnaround. None of us expected what was one of the most dominant second halves any team had put together all season for Leeds against Wigan, and one of the most shoddy, error-filled, commitment-lacking performances that Wakefield put in against Huddersfield, and it all swings around. It's very exciting. Yeah. Someone touched on not making meters, doing the hard yards for Leeds Rhinos, and with no Mitchell Garbett in the matchday 17, that is often kind of what you see, because whilst people like Parcell and Cuthbertson make a lot of ground around the pitch, mostly those yards are from quick plays of the ball, from positions won by maybe other players, either the back three or the 2 wingers, more to the point, and Garbett. And you didn't necessarily get that. No one really putting up massive meter numbers at all for the Rhinos, and that's totally covered off. I think Arundel picked up an injury, didn't he, late on, and that's unfortunate for him, because his footwork and then managing to get the power he got into that drive just close to the line after the footwork kind of created indecision between 2 excellent defenders, Callum Watkins and Danny Maguire, renowned for
did well a great lemming half, didn't he?
But still, his footwork and power to get through the middle of the 2 of them was something I've probably not seen from Rundle for a while, and that was good. So it's a shame that in that shake-up of the side that had happened, he then picked up an injury, because what it showed by shaking up the side, like Brian mentioned, people like Mason Caton Brown been flying for the most part when they were in form, but clearly needed time to think. Sam Williams was doing a passable job, but Miller has got such a much better record this season when you look at things like win percentages.
Yeah.
And
they've been crying out for him coming back, haven't they? Because it's almost their deterioration in form and that sort of period of time where they were losing hasn't completely overlapped, but it certainly has coincided with the absence of Jacob Miller as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, and then they filled the bench with forwards and powerful running forwards. I mean, Hadley's a back row and Anakin is a rapper, but both of them still have an impact when they come on physically too. But Hurst was phenomenal off the bench in this game, I thought, and Hassan, put his body around, and it paid for that with going off with a knock. But I think credit all around to everyone really with what they did with that Trinity side, because the turnaround was emphatic, and some of the stuff they did. I mean, that Kyle Wood zipping out of dummy half. Brian Davies has been very critical of him this year when I've turned to praise him a few times, and Brian obviously sees him a lot more than me. So for Brian to sort of stand up and say how great and flashy he was in this one just shows how much of an impact what he was doing was making. And all the little guys were impressive for Trinity, but all the big guys were so imposing. And for me, Leeds made a shit ton of errors, but it was as much because of the defensive intensity from Wakefield, which is a complete about turn from what they faced against Wigan the week before. You just got to be impressed with the defensive attitude and the sort of forward intensity that Wakefield brought, and it gave Grix and Wood and people like that the chance to have sterling games.
Yes.
Sorry, I talked a lot about that one. I thought Wakefield were dead good.
Yeah, no, I can tell you were impressed. Wakefield were very good in this one, and I don't want to take anything away from them by now, implying that it was because Leeds let them win, because they certainly didn't. Wakefield got up in their faces. I didn't like Leeds' interchange bench or philosophy. They were lacking in size, and I think that contributed to it as well. Kainos normally a centre, and obviously Rob Burrow as well.
Kainos didn't get on. Come on, he was 17th man.
There you go. So not only Delaney, but Delaney and Mullally coming on. That's going to impact you in the second phase of both halves, I would say. Wakefield played well and they displayed great intensity. Leeds made some shocking errors though in criminal positions as well that could have been avoidable. I'm thinking of the Anakin try. Is it Anakin? The Matty Ashurst try.
Yeah.
Some of that.
When the young kid dropped it on his own goal line.
There's that one as well. But there was another one where Danny Maguire there was a kick through from Miller. It was under the sticks. Danny Maguire took a swipe at it to try and get rid of it. Then Cal Watkins and Ash Golding were coming together. Neither of them communicated with each other, so both ended up after going to try and swipe the ball. And then the Wakefield player picked it up and grounded it. So there was just some calamities.
Tupu's try at the end was a bit like that, and I think there was a bit of calamity around Miller's try at the end of the first half too. Yeah. Really, yeah.
I remember it was Miller collecting his kick in that case. But no, the other one, Ash Golding just spilling the ball under pressure. And it getting picked up and grounded. That was Matty Ashurst, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you're right.
Some calamitous stuff going on there in defence. In
attack. In attack as well. Yeah. With the ball and without the ball. But I think all of that I put down... Well, not all of it necessarily, but a lot of that I put down to the intensity of Wakefield.
Yeah. No, I don't want to take anything away from Wakefield at all. But there were some individual errors within that lead side that they'll need to fix up pretty sharpish as well.
Yeah.
It was a massively surprising result.
Yeah.
You would say, wouldn't you? What did the stats tell us then?
Wakey only made one more break on the stats, but a plus 26 compared to Leeds in the positive to negative play count shows that they were value for the win. Big numbers, 492 more metres at 0.9 metres per carry, better average game, fully underlines the advantage that Wakey had. For Leeds, a huge 21 errors is the joint second worst single game effort by a team this year, and at time of game was the joint worst. So a lot of errors by Leeds.
Yeah.
Individually, Scott Grix with two try assists, 131 metres. Keegan Hurst came off the bench and ran for 149 metres. Kyle Wood a try assist and 122 metres. Reece Lynn 120 metres. David Fafita 119 metres. So efforts across the park. For the losing Leeds Rhinos, the numbers are mostly big tackle numbers. In fact, all big tackle numbers. Adam Cuthbertson a try, 41 tackles, 5 successful offloads. Stevie Ward 47 tackles. Matt Parcell 46 tackles. Jamie Jones Buchanan 43 tackles. Carl Ablett 42 tackles, 3 successful offloads. It showed where all of that effort from them, all the energy was spent tackling not making things happen.
There you go. Okay, so to Friday evening then, and over at the AJ Bell, Salford defeated 4 points to 23 by Castleford Tigers in front of 2,811, refereed by Chris Kendall. Cass all but confirming the league leaders' shield.
Yeah, Brian Davies said, Cass the better team, their defence was superb and Salford started poorly. An interesting decision when a Cass defender shoved a Salford defender out of the way and Salford raced away, only for the